Hello everyone, I know that I did say in the Halloween episode that would be the last episode in the Inclusive Volunteering Journey series, but after that I got an email of Community Integrated Care with an invite that I just couldn't say no to. The chance to meet Brad Grove and Bayley Mckenna from the Australian Wheelchair Rugby League team alongside my friends from the Inclusive Media Club. Enjoy the episode.
Can everyone hear us? Great stuff. So hi everyone. Right, we've got the Australia Rugby League wheelchair team with us, the Wheelaroos. We've got Bayley Mckenna and Brad Grove on our screens here. So obviously we're really excited to have the fellas here for us today, especially before a game. They actually play in the World Cup later today. So, I'm sure we're really excited to get going. I'll just do a quick intro if you're with the fellas, if that's okay. If you just want to say who you are and what you do, and then we'll let Matt Price, who's our co-host today, he's going to ask one by one each of our volunteers to ask one question, and then we'll go back around if that's okay. So yeah, if you can fire away, fellas, if that's okay.
My name's Brad Grove. I'm the captain of the Wheelaroos. I was a spinal cord injury. Broke my back in 2008 in a motor vehicle accident. I got involved in sport back in 2010. Saw the sport online, doing the first come and try, decided to turn up and give it a go, and I haven't left. I've been lucky enough to play for Australia 3 times previous, so this is my 4th time and my 3rd World Cup. So, I'm really excited to be here, especially with all the exposure that we're getting and, the way the team's going. So, that's me.
How you going, guys? My name's Bayley Mckenna. I'm an able-bodied athlete playing in the World Cup for the Wheelaroos. I've been playing since about 2019. Came down to a training session just to come and learn a few things. And, like Brad, I just haven't left. It's been real fun.
Amazing. Thanks, fellas. So, Matt, do you want to take it away with asking people who's to ask the first question?
Which of you guys wants to ask the first question? Jake, do you want to introduce yourself, mate, and then ask your question?
Hi, my name's Jake and I'm one of the Media Club volunteers with Community Integrated Care. My question is, how does it feel to play in front of Guinness World Record crowds at this first ever Wheelchair Rugby League World Cup?
I think for us, we're a bit overwhelmed. We're not used to playing we're not used to playing in front of crowds that big. Usually we can get a couple hundred people back in Australia to a game. So to go from a couple of hundred all the way through to 3,000 people, I think it was, or just over that. It's a bit overwhelming, but exciting as well, because it means that, people are getting to see the sport and, we're getting the exposure that we need.
Great question, Jake. Who wants to ask the next one? Jenny? Do you want to introduce yourself and then ask your question?
Nice to meet you both. My name's Jenny. I'm a media volunteer and I also volunteer with the Leeds Rhinos learning disability team. I was just wanting to ask, do you find that wheelchair rugby is more harder than you expected it to be? Because I know a few people that play wheelchair rugby and at first they think that it's going to be easy, but it's a lot more difficult than they expected.
I guess from my perspective, being a wheelchair user all the time, it's not exactly that hard. I already know how my wheelchair kind of works, so jumping in a sports chair is not too much different. It might be a bit different for Bayley.
It was a bit overwhelming to start with all the contact, but you learn to get used to it and you learn how to control your chair pretty quick. You get a chair made for yourself and you can kind of maneuver it the way you want, and you end up really loving the contact. So it's the way I get used to it.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant question, Jenny. Anybody else got a question? Declan, do you want to introduce yourself, mate, and then ask your question?
I am Declan. I'm co-captain at the Leeds Rhinos disability team. I'm also the ambassador and also a media club volunteer. My question is, what inspired you to play Wheelchair Rugby League?
That's a hard question. That's actually a pretty good question. I guess from my perspective, it was I was looking for something that I could work towards making an Australian team. I've been playing wheelchair basketball for about 2 years straight after an accident, and there was a lot of people playing. And with the classification system that they have with basketball, it was going to be fairly hard for me to make an Australian side for wheelchair basketball. And realistically, I wasn't very good at it either. So when Wheelchair Rugby League started, I kind of jumped at the chance. It was fairly new in Australia, and they would give me an opportunity to work towards making that goal. But also the fact that I was able to play the sport with one of my best mates. He was an able-bodied athlete. He was there when I broke my back, and he wouldn't be able to play wheelchair basketball with me, but wheelchair rugby league, because it is so inclusive, he was able to jump in the chair and play. And that's Jason Addard. He's played for Australia as well in the past 2 World Cups, and then Test series in 2019. So it's probably one of the biggest reasons that sport. One of the big things that inspired me to play the sport.
I guess the thing that inspired me the most was my dad has a disability, and he was part of the coaching staff. He was assistant coach for the Australian team for a while. I came down and just wanted to be part of the team, wanted to learn a few things when I first started the sport, and I found out that I could actually make it to an Australian level with my dad being by my side, sort of thing. And that's what really kept me going. Now I've met a great bunch of blokes, and we're brothers. They're my brothers, so having a good time. It's good.
Thank you.
Brilliant question, Declan. Anybody else got a question? Katie, do you want to introduce yourself and ask the question?
Yeah, I'm Katie. I play for the Volunteer Wolves Learning Disability Rugby team. I'm also an inclusive volunteer for community rated care. My question is, what has been the best moment of playing the World Cup so far?
The best moment playing for the World Cup at the moment, probably definitely, obviously, that first game against England. We had an expectation as to how England would go. We haven't had the opportunity to play since 2019. Obviously, the pandemic and being so far away from everyone else. Our team's improved a fair bit over the last couple of years, and we want to hopefully showcase that and show everyone else that we had improved. Obviously, we didn't get the win, but I think just our efforts in general showed everyone that we have improved, and we're contenders and we're getting up there.
Thank you.
Great question, Katie. Daniel, do you have a question, mate?
I'm Daniel, and I play for the York City Knights Learning Disability team, and I was wondering what you thought about this World Cup, as you've got the Physical Disability Rugby League World Cup, you've got the Wheelchair Rugby League World Cup, and you've got the Women's and the Men's Disability World Cup. What do you think about the advertising and the whole thing about it all being together as well? So
I think it's very important that we're all together. We all get the same amount of advertising. Obviously, Wheelchair Rugby League isn't quite there yet. I think it's definitely after that first game that we had the other night. Wheelchair Rugby League's been put on the map. But yeah, before the World Cup, it wasn't really known. You wouldn't really speak to many people that knew what Wheelchair Rugby League actually was. But definitely after this World Cup and all the advertising we're getting now, it will definitely change, I think.
Excellent question.
Amazing question. And well done, Daniel, because I know you joined the call late too. But yeah, just wanted to reintroduce the stars in case you missed it. We've got Brad Grove and Bayley Mckenna, who obviously played already the first game. And I've got a quick question, fellas, if that's okay. I'm really interested in the mindset of athletes and the preparation that goes into the work you do and on a match day. Talk us through a usual match day for yourselves, from getting up in the morning to the game day. Say if it is in the afternoon like today, how would you approach it mentally?
I think it depends on the play. We've all got our own ways of getting ready and preparing. Obviously we get up as a team, have breakfast, team meetings, and usually from there it just depends on what the gap is until we play. The other day, we pretty much had a full day. Yeah, it's almost 12 hours. So some guys went out to the shops and had a walk around. Some others, went to their rooms, just had to sleep. I know I had to sleep. Just playing, mental games on the phone as well, just, keep our minds active. Today we've got a shorter time. This morning we were obviously doing this with you guys, and, fortunately, these sorts of things, again, keep our minds away from the game because you don't really want to be concentrating too much on it. We'll have lunch and then, pretty much just get on the bus, go to the stadium around 1 o'clock and get into it.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, so Matt, you wanted to take everyone through again, their next question, if that's okay?
Yeah, no problem. Jake, have you got another question, buddy?
Yes, I do have another question. How does it feel to know that Wheelchair Rugby League has now broken Twitter?
That one's definitely on you. It's broken Twitter.
That was insane. We didn't really find out about it until, I don't know, it might have been later that night after the game, early the next morning. The hit that was breaking the internet was myself. I didn't do it for that, but yeah, it definitely put us on the map, I think. Which is awesome. It was really cool. It was trending. I think it was 2 in the UK and 4 in Australia. So yeah, that was good to see.
Great question, Jake. Jenny, have you got another one?
I just wanted to ask, I know sometimes athletes have like a little pre-match like ritual that they do before they play a game. I was just wondering, do you do anything before you play the game together as a team?
I've only really got one ritual, and that's usually it's a can of V energy drink. I can't get them over here, so it's been Red Bull. But that's pretty much it for me. I try not to think about it too much. Just have a bit of a laugh and that. So that's it for me.
For myself, I like listening to music. Really just gets myself away from everything. And half an hour before the game or an hour before the game, we put the earphones away, put all the phones away, and we start getting in it together as a team, sort of thing. That's the way I do it.
Oh, thank you.
Great question, Jenny. Declan, have you got another one?
What message would you give to the next wheelchair player who would be interested in playing Wheelchair Rugby League?
Good question. That is a good question. I think from my perspective, it's to give it a go, and just because things don't work out when you start with doesn't mean you need to give up. I think what happens too often is people jump in a chair, have a go, they've got an expectation as to where they want to go. They may not be selected straight away for whether it be a national team or, in the other case, a state team or an Australian team, and they tend to just give it up. I think people need to realise that it does take a lot of work and a lot of effort to get to that stage, and just because it doesn't happen the first time doesn't mean you need to give up straight away. Continue the work, and as long as you do that, at some stage someone will at least pick up on that and give you a run. I think, as I said, too often people give up a little bit too easily without putting the work in, and that's all I really need to do.
Great question. Daniel, do you have another one? No problem. Casey, have you thought on another one? Yeah, excellent.
I wanted to ask, how does it feel to represent your country on the global stage?
What does it mean to represent our country?
Yeah.
As I said, this is the 4th time I've done it, and I couldn't be more honoured. From my perspective, my goal before I broke my back was to serve my nation, so I wanted to join the army. I never got that opportunity, obviously, so for me, this is the next best thing, is to represent your country. There's a lot of meaning behind wearing the green and gold back home in Australia. To be included as one of those, great athletes in Australia to be able to do that means the world. Add on that, the fact that I'm the captain as well, I never thought that had ever happened. That's a shock. All I can say is I'm proud and I'm honoured.
For me, I think being my debut World Cup, first time put on the green and gold. Like Brad said, it's a lot of pride you put into it. I think I teared up when I first put my jersey on. I got to wear the Australian flag too for my first game. I've got goosebumps now thinking about it. So there's a lot of pride and a lot of, you really get behind yourself and your teammates when you put on this jersey. So it's really good.
Thank you.
That was a great question and answer. I'm going to ask a question again myself, but I want Matt to think of a question while I'm asking it, if that's okay. Matt, you can go next. So I've got a question from a media club member who hasn't been able to make the call today. but I know his name's Ben. He's a massive rugby league fan, and he asks some really thorough questions. So it's his first one was, in your preparations for the tournament, have you been impacted by time difference and climate, and how have you overcome that? Are there any other challenges you have overcome to be here?
That's a layered question. Yeah, obviously the time difference has been a big thing. That's half the reason why we came over here about a week early, to acclimatise and get used to that. We had some of the boys that had jet lag for a couple of days, and with disabilities as well, you got to take that into consideration. Whether it be seating issues, legs blow up as well, and flights and that sort of thing. So it can take a couple of days. In regards to the weather, it's not too different, to be honest, than it is back home. It was warm when we got here. Expected it to be cold, but it's no real different to what it is back home in Australia. It's raining today, but it hasn't stopped raining back home in Australia. So yeah, I think our biggest thing was just obviously the time difference and the jet lag, but yeah, the weather hasn't been too bad at all.
Thanks, fellas. Matt, have you got a question?
I do, yeah. So you know how Wheelchair Rugby League is inclusive, so you can get able-bodied athletes and, obviously disabled players playing in the same team. How great is it to advertise that, by playing? Like, I know a lot of people, it's like my parents watching the first game the other day, they said it's crazy how they see people just, the chair, if you hit a chair hard enough, it just goes flying and people just get straight back up. What's it like the next day? Like, injury-wise, because you're getting smashed for, 80 minutes?
Yeah, there is a few bruises. I don't know whether you can see my elbow and the back of my arm. It's got a big bruise on it. You get used to it. It's not usually the day after. It's usually the day after. That's the second day after the game is when you start feeling all of it, like all your shoulders and your your lats and stuff like that. Everything like that just starts to hurt. But like I said, you get used to it and you get over it. And your after game recovery is it's very important. Very important. So you're not as sore. But yeah, that's.
I guess again from a disability point of view, we've got a lot of extra things we've got to look after. Whether it be osteoporosis in our legs, or if I've bunged my arm up, then I can't use the wheelchair. So we've got to take things a little bit more careful, I guess, and watch things. So when you watch the games, you'll probably notice that the paraplegics or the wheelchair users are probably the ones that don't hit as hard. We do back off a little bit. It's purely because of that. It's it's that extended time afterwards that we've got to worry about as well. Well, these guys who are able-bodied or even amputees, they can hit out as hard as they want because they haven't really had to worry about the injury prospect as much as we do.
Thank you very much.
Great. So we're just going to go through one last time, if that's okay, fellas. I know we've still got a few questions, and if anyone doesn't, that's no problem at all. Obviously, you can carry on and sit in on the chat. So, Jake, we'll go back to you, if that's okay.
I know that you've got a dad and a son in the team. How does it feel to be a dad and a son playing in the Wheelchair Rugby League World Cup?
That's obviously you're talking about Craig and Corey. That's great. It's no different to my story with my mate Jason, right? They'd never had the opportunity to play the able-bodied game or the running game if it wasn't for our sport. It's on top of that, it's given us a lot of more exposure to how inclusive our sport is. There's a lot of people background talking about that and the fact that it's history making. That's fantastic. I hope we get to see more of that, whether it be mothers and daughters or mothers and sons or however it is. It'd be great to see more of that.
Great question, Jake. So we'll go to Declan next, if that's okay.
What's been your favourite moment in your career?
Oh, that's a good one too. Sorry, I've got to process that one. I guess being given the captaincy. As I said, I never thought that would kind of happen, and these blokes I'm playing with are great boys. To stand up there and lead them is probably one of the biggest achievements I've ever had. We could win gold and this, that, and the other, but to have that responsibility means a great deal. I consistently repeat, it's the biggest responsibility that I've had, but probably the easiest job because, these other blokes know exactly what they're doing and they're all leaders in their own right, specifically because it is a new sport. They're all doing their own leadership roles back at home, developing the sport. So, that'd be my probably biggest achievement.
I think mine would be, like I said before, just putting on that Australian jersey for the first time and representing my country, being an able-bodied athlete. Yeah, that'd be my favourite part of my career for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Great question, that. So should we go to Jenny now? Is that okay?
Yes. I was just wanting to say, as a wheelchair user myself, and I play a wheelchair football, recently. How much, do you think it? Like a lot of people say to me, "Oh, you can't play sports if you're in a wheelchair." But now, they're showing the wheelchair rugby on the TV more, and it's on the radio, in the media. How much do you think that means to the community of people that have always been told they can't play sports, and now they've been told they can? How much do you think it means to everybody?
It's great to see more and more people involved. I think I'm not sure how it is here in England and the UK, but I know back home with their smaller population, unless you're playing top tier rugby league or top tier sports, then there's not really anything for you. The fact that our sport's inclusive and can bring more people in to fill those gaps to allow more and more people to play is fantastic because not everyone's going to be able to play at the top level. Some people just want to play socially and just participate. So I think the exposure the sport's getting to increase our participation for wheelchair users is fantastic because there's a lot of opportunities in sport, but for us, but it's always up the top, not really anything just for that social aspect. So I think it's great.
Oh, thank you. I feel like as well for myself, it's before you didn't really know much about sports for people in wheelchairs, but now I feel like it is going the right direction. It just needs to, they need to show it more on the TV and the media, all different sports. So I'm really proud that they've got so many different, sorts of rugby involved, and I'm just hoping that when the World Cup comes along the next time, that it's going to come back even better, and I'm just really excited to see what they do.
Yeah, well, we are too. I think the goal is to get 16 teams next Wheelchair Rugby League World Cup, and they've obviously introduced the physical disability rugby league as well. And from our league too, I think the importance of Wheelchair Rugby League and the inclusiveness is it's pushed other sports to include an inclusive aspect of their wheelchair sports. It's great to see that our sport's been a leader in that, and what the World Cup's done here to make sure that we get that equal exposure is fantastic, purely because of what you've said. So it's going to be good.
Oh, thank you.
Well done, Jenny. That was fantastic. So we've got. Obviously, Katie just still has one more question, and we've just had Becca join the call. So I just want to say hello to Becca. We've got the 2 stars of the Australia Wheelchair Rugby League team here, Brad Grove and Bayley Mckenna. As the fellas just pointed out. So we've been asking a few questions, Becca, and we've probably got time for one of your questions, if that's okay. So if you want to introduce yourself, Becca, and then if you want to have a little think, that's fine.
Okay, Becca. I'm Becca, and I've been asked if I want to attend tomorrow.
Right.
I'm still a bit unsure. I know there's going to be questions asked, and this is the opportunity. So really, just come along to see what the questions are. Really.
Okay. Well, what I can do, Becca, I can send some of the questions. What we'll do then, we'll watch the end of the call if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And then I'll catch up with
that.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
No problem. Okay. No problem. So, Katie, do you want to ask your final question for the fellas, and then we'll wish them the best of luck for the game later today.
Yeah, I wanted to ask how are you feeling about ahead of today's big game?
I'm excited. It doesn't matter who I'm playing. I'm always excited. So we have an expectation of how Ireland are going to be, but we have our game plan. We want to improve on what we did the other day. So we worked on that yesterday, and hopefully that we gel together a bit more today, and pretty much do what we do. That's all I can say. I'm excited.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Well, that was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I'm sure everyone enjoyed it on the call here. Thank you so much, fellas, for giving your time, especially on a match day.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
no problem.
It's been brilliant. Right. Best of luck for later today. I'm sure everyone will be watching, and I'll definitely be cheering on. I know we've got a few England fans, so maybe not everyone will be, but I'm sure you'll have the best thoughts from us, and all the best, and hope you have an amazing day and an amazing tournament.
Thank you for having us. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, guys.
The Wheelaroos ended up winning by 76 points to 18. That's you up for now. Until the next time, be kind to one another. See you soon. Bye bye. The Jake Lindsay Vlog Show. Thanks for watching. The Jake Lindsay Vlog Show. Hope to see you again. The Jake Lindsay Vlog Show. The Jake Lindsay Vlog Show. Thanks for watching. The Jake Lindsay Vlog Show. Hope to see you again. The Jake Lindsay Vlog Show.